Hei, Sveidrud. God morgen. Thanks. Should we get started? Yeah? Is YouTube streaming? Yeah. Thanks. Yes, good morning. I'm Andreas Stelber from the Norwegian Metallurgical Institute, and I will guide you through this very last session of this nice workshop. And I think Rasmus has to say some introducing words, and then we have a talk afterwards. I will introduce the talk again. So,
thank you, Andreas. Put this microphone on. Thank you. Okay. So yeah, this is the last day of our workshop. So we have a half day here, and we have one presentation, and then we have some practical work. And I think because we started 9:05 and we started 9:15 yesterday, so there might be some people coming a little bit late. So let's hope that more people will come here, and also see on Zoom as well that there's not so many present at the moment. So I think we probably...
Shall we wait some more minutes?
We can wait 5 more minutes. But I can say something about the excursion. So after we finish before lunch, then we will go up to Økern. We'll take the metro up, and we'll have lunch there, and then we'll meet with a representative from Oslo City Municipality, and she will give us a guided tour to look at some green roofs, but also some ways of dealing with flooding and heavy rainfall in Oslo. So we'll actually get to see how people have actually started doing some climate change adaptation. So I thought that would be quite nice to see that. And it's now it's been raining a little bit, so there might be it will be wet, and we can see it in action. And then today we have but actually Andreas will say that about the talk. And also you can also talk about the assignments or the tasks, tasks later on as well. I would like to also say that I'll try to update the websites even after the workshop with information about where we are when we will also edit the streaming so that it will be easier to access, because now there's lots of silence between different different presenters, and we can remove that and make it easier to access. And we'll work on a synthesis of all the input we got during this workshop, and we got a lot of input yesterday, so there will be some work afterwards as well, and that will take some weeks to do. But once we've done that, we'll post the link on the website, and then send a notification to everybody who's registered for this workshop if they have any comments or things that should be added, so that we can add so that people who have registered have access to comment on the documents. So I think that's for now, and then...
I think we just wait until 15:15 with the presentation.
Yeah.
And Hans Olaf, you found a power plug yesterday, right? So maybe we can... a power plug for a PC yesterday was lying around somewhere. Yeah. You took that. So if someone is missing it, I think it was there on the middle table. So if one of you guys is missing that, probably say it again afterwards when more people are here. So yeah, maybe can you share my screen already? Just fill in some minutes for the excursion while we're waiting. I have the presentations. Yes, yes, I have them. Yeah.
You have the...
I have I have the presentation from Claire here. So that's
No, not from Claire.
From?
I mean from me. It's coming from me.
Oh, did you send it to?
I sent it to Rasmus.
Yeah, then I probably have it. It should be here somewhere.
This one.
This one, Create Your Future.
Yes.
Yes. I opened that and yes, good. Show that afterwards.
Just see, so make sure. Yeah, this is the one.
Good, thanks. Still on my screen. Is it not working? Screen? Det får bare den? Yay, good, nice. Yeah, just the weather for today for the excursion. So if we're lucky, it's a bit less rain after lunch, but probably we have some rain. Should we start with the video then? Yeah. Okay. Good. So the first talk will be by Claire McIntosh, who's a climate application scientist at the European Space Agency, and she will talk about how to complement climate information with data from ESA. The talk is on video. but she's also in the Zoom chat, as far as I know. So you can ask her. We can ask her questions there. So let's see. Let's hope this all works and get it going.
Good morning. So my name is Claire McIntosh. I'm here to talk about some perspectives on CORDEX from the ESA Climate Office. I unfortunately can't be with you in person this morning, so this is pre-recorded. I hope to be around at least virtually for some of the discussion later on. So first of all, I'll talk a little bit about who we are at the ESA Climate Office and what we do. So the Climate Office really acts as the focal point for climate activities across ESA. And then within the office, we have our flagship research and development programme, which is called the Climate Change Initiative. So that's just over 10 years old now. We'll be entering our next large phase of that sometime next year, currently called Climate Space. And the purpose of the Climate Change Initiative, certainly in the early years, was to build long-term, stable climate data records using space-based information. So the idea here is to take disparate Earth observation platforms, instruments, techniques, resolutions, equatorial crossing times, and to make long-term, stable climate data records that are suitable for climate research. So where you can compare 1992 to 2022 easily. In the later stages over the last few years, we've had an increasing focus on the operationalization, or really the research and development that is needed to operationalize these climate data records. So the uncertainty, the stability and the harmonization that's really needed to build something that is usable for people conducting climate research. And then the operationalization is largely done by the Copernicus Climate Change Services. I believe Carlos spoke earlier in the week. So hopefully you've had a tour of those. So in terms of what we produce, we take our requirements from the WMO's defined 54 essential climate variables. Of those 54, 36 can benefit from space-based observations. And of those 36, currently 23 are generated by the ESA Climate Office. So they cover the oceanic, the terrestrial and cryosphere domains, and the atmospheric domain. Some new ECVs to highlight: precursors CCI, so that's precursors to ozone, so NOx, sulfur dioxide, formaldehyde, glyoxal, and ammonia. And vegetation parameters CCI is new. First results are expected imminently. I wanted to highlight this one because it's also a good illustration of how that value chain, that data chain, works, in that much of our data is available operationally now via the Copernicus services. Vegetation parameters has come about in part because the Copernicus services have highlighted that there is a strong user need. And then ESA can respond to the research and development aspects of that, and in due course it will be passed to the climate change services for operationalization. We do also have links into Modelling World. That's via the Climate Modelling User Group. So they do a lot of our user requirements studies. They're based at the Met Office in the UK, and they also run quite a number of case studies using our data combined with climate models. I'll go through a couple of those in the next slides. Since March this year, we've been hosting the CMIP International Project Office. So, of course, there are very strong links from CMIP to the CORDEX Project Office. And when ESMO comes online sometime next year, there should be a really interesting set of links between Observation World and Model World. And the last thing is that there's been a focus in recent years on cross-ECV projects. So as these variables, the climate data records, get more mature, it's possible to use them in a polyvariate sense to look at budgets and cycles. So notably, sea level budget closure CCI finished a couple of years ago. We will have a follow-on phase of that starting early next year. And Recap 2 CCI, which is carbon budget focused. And again, the first phase of that looked at really the global carbon budget from space. And the second phase that we're in now is looking at how one can attribute that information to various sources when you're in a top-down framework. And also what information you can get from space that is useful to bottom-up NDCs. Okay, so a few case studies of what we do. And this will be a whistle-stop tour. I'm sure most of you are familiar with ESM Valtool. The contract for development now lies with our Climate Modelers user group, although there are parties from across Europe interested. I thought this was probably very familiar, but I wanted to highlight two things. One is that we have, I think, 16 of our projects are now available in OBS for MIPS format on ESM Valtool for use in model evaluation. And the second thing is that the new phase, in case you were not aware of ESM Valtool, really has a focus on CORDEX to date. Excuse me, ESM Valtool has been really global and looking at large-scale climate, long-term climate modelling, and as in the CMIP projects. There's now an interest in CORDEX and regionalisation, not least because the Earth observation we can provide is often at much higher resolution than the CMIP 6 models. So there is definitely interest and engagement there. Currently, I think the CORDEX regions are not supported, although the IPCC regions are. The code base is freely available on GitHub. The user forums are very active. I would strongly encourage you to get involved. If there is functionality that's missing in ESM Valtool, the team want to know about it, and they are usually quite responsive. So some actual science case studies. I wanted to highlight land cover as something that might be of interest to the CORDEX community. We have two land cover projects, moderate resolution land cover and high resolution land cover. The ESA perspective, of course, is strongly linked to the global stocktake, so land use and land cover change are crucial to support the global stocktake. The role of land for storing carbon, and to some extent the potential for offsetting is of interest. What I thought might be interesting for the CORDEX community is the availability of data. So we have a series of annual maps from 1992 to 2020. They're at 300 meter resolution globally. And coming very shortly is a consistent and analysis-ready set of plant functional types for climate modelling. So that is we've used auxiliary information from Sentinel-2 primarily to look within each 300 meter pixel, what are the land types, and then they are the sum of those land types is 100%, and they are not geolocated within the pixel. So it's more directly comparable to models, and it should be completely analysis ready. It will be available in OBS for MIPS format. High resolution land cover is 10 meter resolution. It's not global. So there were three key areas for this first study. So there's the Amazon, which has a focus on deforestation. There's the Sahel and Sub-Saharan Africa, which has a focus on monsoons, fires, rainfall. And then there's Siberia, which has a focus on vegetation changes and permafrost. So the large green squares on this map show where there is static 10 meter resolution long-term records. And these smaller sub-areas are available at 30 meter resolution in the sub-regions every 5 years, but the annual change increment is also available. So you can step through years. And the bottom panel here shows what it actually looks like. This is what 10 meter resolution land cover data looks like relative to the 300 meter resolution land cover on the left-hand side, and here's the Sentinel-2 true colour image in the middle, and you can see that the river structure, the tributaries, the wetlands are much, much better resolved at 10 metres than they are at 300. I should also say that land cover here has been available via C3S from 2016, so it's available operationally and is updated annually. And the last land cover project to draw your attention to is world cover, which was it's a one-off land cover map, but it is global, 10 meter resolution. It is an astonishing data volume. It's been independently verified to be around about 75% accurate, and there is efforts going on at the moment for world cover 2021 to increase that to 77% overall accuracy. It's expected to be released this week, although I have not yet had the notification. It is an astonishingly large amount of data, 10 meter resolution, but it's also a phenomenal achievement. So sticking with the land surface, I chose this example because it's an example of the importance of spatial resolution, and I thought that might be of relevance to the CORDEX community. So Fire CCI has been running for 5 or 6 years now. I think their key variable is burned area. The initial use case was to understand what the burned area was, and there's also inversion modelling that can tell you then what the carbon emissions are. So this is a carbon emissions project really. They have 2 global products. One is pixel product, so that's the longest term is from MODIS, it's at 250 meters, and then the gridded product is at 0.25 degrees. The interesting thing for the CORDEX community, I think, is that there's a small fire database pilot study done last year at 20 meter resolution over sub-Saharan Africa as a demonstrator project, and the results from that were, I think, very surprising to all of us, but very, very interesting. So on the right-hand side here, the bottom panel shows Fire CCI at 20 meters resolution compared to the top panel, the MODIS 500 meter, and the Fire CCI version 1 250 meter product. The colours here are the day of the first burn. Anything white is unburned. It is a very small region. What came out of this study was that when they measured the burned area at 20 meter resolution, the total burned area was almost double that measured at 250 meters. So 2.02 million square kilometres of the 4.89 million square kilometres total burned area detected came from small fires that could not be seen in the MODIS products. The corresponding fire emissions have been estimated to be about 1.4 petagrams of carbon, and that's somewhere between 30 and 100% higher than previously thought, and the carbon emissions estimates are much more uncertain than the burned area estimates. Nonetheless, it's clear here that resolution matters. The paper is given at the bottom of the screen here. I'd encourage you all to read it because it's a fantastic piece of science. But it does illustrate that resolution is important. These data are freely available via the CCI. And even the native product of 250 meters picks up some substantial fires. Okay, so this is the last very short example I'll show you, and this is to illustrate the power of multivariate data as our data records become more mature. This was work initially done by one of our graduate trainees. They're now a PhD student in the UK, continuing this work, which was absolutely fantastic. So they took 6 variables related to coastal environments and the cholera outbreak incidence database, and they looked at coastal communities in India and built from a training set of data a random forest classifier that could predict cholera outbreak incidence as a function of changes in the Earth observation data, so in changes in sea surface temperature, ocean colour, soil moisture. So on the right you can see the overall accuracy of the product, and you can see it's pretty much over 90% in a lot of these regions. But it's not perfect. It's slightly conservative in that the model is more likely to predict no outbreak when there is an outbreak than the reverse. But it had nearly 90% sensitivity and around about 90% accuracy. And the other thing that came out of this piece of work was that then you can formally identify the strongest predictors, which turned out to be chlorophyll A, salinity, and land temperature. And I think that's an intuitively sensible result, but this was a really interesting way of using really quite a lot of data and some innovative techniques to produce something that has the potential to have real-world healthcare impacts. So that has been an absolutely whistle-stop tour around some of the types of things that we do. It is by no means an exhaustive list. The last thing I wanted to do was talk about where to get the data and also how to engage with the community. So we have an entire data engineering team. Our data policy, the data are freely available without restrictions on use. You can get them from our open data portal. You can also use the CCI toolbox, which is standalone or cloud-based if you don't have the storage. 16 of the 23 are available on the Copernicus Climate Change services, who also have an API for remote use. And if you need things in model format, ESM Valtool has, again, 16 of our data sets. They're all in OBS4MIPS format. We also are contributing to input for MIPS and interested in any conversations about model forcing data. that might be in development. And there is also scope for research and development into things which are a bit more in-depth that the modelling community could use. So, for example, the plant functional types that I showed today, there's been quite a lot of work in land surface temperature CCI and urban heat indices and covariability and high resolution urban heat indices. So if anybody has an interest in that, please let me know. And I wanted to also highlight that we have data standards board and an ontological project which is interested in having a common data vocabulary across all the CCI ECB projects, but also relative to C3S, and also formats that are CF compliant and Oxford MIPS compliant where possible. And the last thing that's just been thrown off the screen is the joint data standards for ECBs, which is a joint ESA-ECMWF initiative. So there is scope to get involved, and I wanted to leave you with the following thought. Really, from our perspective as data providers, the data are only useful first if we understand what it is we have measured, and second, if the measurement is available in a form and a format that is accessible and applicable to users. We're always interested in conversations on that front. So please do get in touch either via my email address, which is on the screen now, or via the CMIP office. Thank you very much.
Thanks for the presentations. I don't have the Zoom here, so I don't know if there are any questions there, or how we can ask questions actually. If are there any questions?
I don't know, but hello. Yeah, I don't know if there are any questions, but we can put them into the document from here, actually. Like as a part of the workshop, so we can add this into. If you send the questions to me, I can also send it to Claire as well. So, but it might be useful also to bring them up also, like in this workshop report.
Yeah. But yeah. So yes, then we have the first breakout group, which is topic 6, create your future, and I think Irene Lake is going to give a short presentation and introduce us to how this is supposed to work and how we are gonna create our future. So I just start. Should I start the presentation?
Yes. Please go ahead.
And floor is yours.
Okay, so this is somewhat of a test. So you are our bunny. What do we call them? Test bunnies now. This has been tried only once before, as far as I know, in Sweden on small groups. So this is the first time we tried international, and we've translated some Swedish material to English and tried to adapt it a bit to international standards from being first used for Swedish adaptation workshops. So we're going to see how this works, and it's going to be exciting for us to see. So you're, as I said, our test bunnies, and okay. So what we will do, and I forgot to say, he said that I'm Irene Lake, and this is Sofia Kark, who's my co-worker. Well, and what we're going to do, we're going to focus on a pilot study where we then discuss climate change and create a future world. And it could be different kind of scenarios, but the real thing is that we're thinking in a warmer world. That's the main thing, a warmer world. So we will discuss climate challenges and climate adaptation, and the purpose is to create an image of what the future could look like in 2072, if we think that we have managed to adapt fairly well to climate change. And we will focus on water abundance or water scarcity, so flooding and drought, and international relations and cooperation and trade, and also on high temperatures. And your feedback from this will nurture how we develop this afterwards, and it will also be input to the report from the workshop. So this is now slightly changed as we were a bit delayed today. So instead of getting 70 minutes for working with this, you will get 60, so 1 hour. And then there will be some short presentations from the groups. Also depending a bit, I mean, we're fewer than we anticipated, so this might be much faster. And then we'll just have a short summary and evaluation. And now I will turn to...
Yes, and this is an example of how you can think about this workshop. For instance, a city like Norrköping, my hometown, I'm not used to talk to in the microphone. In 2011, it was extreme rain, and 2018, extreme heat, and 2022, heat and rain. And so when you think of this vision to adapted city, you can think about increased green areas, increased readiness and robustness to meet challenges, increased improved collaboration with available existing resources, and also climate adaptation measures with regards to proprietary portfolio.
Okay, and these are just images for food for thought. So, I mean, all the sectors that are affected by climate change and how we need to adapt these sectors, like agriculture and food, disaster risk, water, health, energy, all this, and how you build a city, etc. So these are just images to make you think about what you can do in this exercise. And this is also just to think a little bit about what does transformation mean if we transform the society so that we are adapted and ready to meet challenges. So according to IPCC, it's approximately fundamental properties of system and including revised goals and values where transformation needs to happen both on the individual level and on the larger levels when it comes to values and driving forces, legislation, norms and governments, etc. And also that it's important that everybody is on board, that equity is also an important word in doing this. So we will divide into groups, and we anticipated some more groups, but now we can have perhaps 3 in the room. And then I'm not sure how many are online, so Abdelkader will, I guess, or Oscar will divide you that are online into groups, and you will have the material available on a link from the website. It is called test presentation or test PPT and create your future something, a word. It's at the very end of the website right now, these links. So we will have here then in the room, let's say we have a group on international relations, one on high temperatures and heat waves, and then either on group flooding or drought and water availability. You could actually divide into groups and then choose which one you would like to work with.
Yes, I should stand here so I can read. And your focus should be on what needs to be done to handle, to adapt to high temperatures, long heat spells, or heavy precipitation and flooding. The measures should be flexible and possible to adapt to different outcomes. And we will present some text to you, so you should read it. And this is how describes some city in the year 2072. And then you should think of what's your group's vision for the city area are in 72. What does it look like? How does it function? And we have like material, so you should place figures, draw or write, adapt some measures in the posters. So they will show the situation in 2072. And then you should agree in your group what you will present. And one in the group should present this a result to the others. So you should choose one in the group who's going to talk for the group. And,
Here are also some images just as food for thoughts. For instance, for the group flooding, this is a thought about what's supplied land use, how does it look when it's flooding. This is from Durban in April. I was in South Africa then, and it was, I mean, everything was affected, even at a far distance. Flights were cancelled. Everything was a mess. And here for drought, water availability, and high temperatures, for instance, you can think about this affects also the air quality. If it's very dusty and dry, for instance, and there are fires or things like that. So this is just food for thoughts. And for the international relations, we are really dependent on the trades and delivery chains. For instance, I would be very sad if I couldn't have my coffee in the morning. And so that would make my day miserable. So think about how international relations affect also on municipality level, not only, I mean, in the big scene, but you're actually affected at the local level as well. So let's divide into groups and start. Oh, sorry. One more.
We have 2 more slides. This is just to think about which governance instrument measures are used in 2072. What have we won and lost compared from today? And in what way has society been transformed? And remember, there's no right or wrong in this exercise. All contributions are equally. And listen to the others in the groups and share your thoughts. And ask if you have any questions. We will use this result for further develop, as Irene said, and hopefully maybe we can use this another time. And think also about how you can use this in your future work. Yes?
Should we go?
Yes.
Groups. Thanks. Can you just show?
of you on the chat. Yeah, and then I'll just need to move to the other room to share the link, and then I'll come back here.
Okay, everyone, time is running up for this exercise. So now we will have presentations from each group who have worked with different challenges. And we will start with the groups that are here on site in Oslo. They will show their posters and their summary there and talk about it. And then we will, for you online who have trouble seeing this, we will post this images of this also online after, so you can take a look at them then if you'd like. So let's have the flooding group up on the stage to present what you have done.
Well, we have decided that we needed more than one person because we were speaking about different aspects. So I will start, but then I will have to change the microphone if that's okay. Well, the group, it's conformed, well, maybe
Steffi,
Vincent?
Hanne,
and Ramon. We have this Belleville. I don't remember the name of the town. Marbleville. That is prone to have flooding. But the government has really well planned the city, and we know where are the places that will be flooded. The city is not only prone to have flooding, but also sometimes it's the opposite problem. So we somehow we are concerned, so we are having a dam, and the dam can keep the water when there is no water, or can control the water level when there is a lot of water. And then there's also some rerouting of the water stream that has already been planned, where to allow not to have so much overflooding and to reaching the levels that the city has planned to be good for the city, for the citizens. Schools are in high areas and hospitals, but we also have shelters in some tall buildings in case there are some parts of the city that would be flooded. We have amphibic ambulances, and we have other means of transport, as you can see here, that are available for the people to move when there is some flooding happening.
And a part of adapting the city to flooding also goes to the idea of making people aware of the flooding. And this, if you think about the European cities or the cities in the 90s, where the water is basically hidden underground, and we try to route it as fast as possible out of the city, people start to forget about the water and forget about the floods. But with climate change, since it's more and more often flooded, we also need to make people aware of that, so the water is back in the city even in dry time. So people are aware that there will be flooding. They also remember where it used to be flooded. So there is a lot of communication from the municipality and with probably citizen involvement to know where kind of the dangerous areas are. And for that, there would be also some, let's say, flood surveillance system, and probably again with citizen involvement to be able to adjust in real time where there is flooding, to make people aware that they shouldn't go in this area and so on. Trying to remember what we did not mention yet. Yeah, there is also a big part of making the city resilient that go through the idea of, let's say, redundancy. So it could be both in the energy system, having like different ways to produce energy, but also again in managing a flood area, so to have different several systems that are available in a way that if one branch of a system fails, we have some backups and we can still continue to have a city that functions well. Now some stuff that we have not been representing completely on the city map because it was maybe a bit more complicated to represent, but we've also been mentioning some health issues. For instance, you mentioned mosquitoes, which can be a problem if you have water standing in the city. So probably this is taken into account to some extent in the design of infrastructures in a way that the water don't stand too long when possible in the infrastructures. Yeah. Also another part of adapting cities to flooding comes with again, so the citizen and this social equity. So we don't want to have let's say rich people in safe area and poor people in a dangerous area. So this has to be taken into account by the municipality, and the way it's managed is to be socially equal for everyone, with avoiding when possible gentrification. So it means that the city has to be involved in that in those questions and take them into account from the beginning, from the city planning, and not have them as a result of measures they take. Anything else we forgot? Yeah, and this is us, because at that time we will be way older. Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks. Oh, thanks. Who's next? You have 2 posters. Okay. I can just hold one. Yeah. Who wants to talk? Kaisa? Yeah.
No, you go.
You want to hold?
Okay, so in our city, we have problems with heat waves in the summer and simultaneously with drought. So first of all, we have a lot of green roofs on our buildings, urban farming and community farming. We just want the city to be as green as possible, basically. We have rainwater catchments both on the ground and on the roofs to both work in cases of extreme precipitation and in drought to supply water for our urban farming. Of course, we have solar panels everywhere, and shadow from trees and from window screens, which are also solar panels. So this clean energy will provide our buildings with energy for air conditioning in the summer and for heating in the winter. And we have, of course, what is it called? Heat pumps. So we also get energy from ground heat. There are no cars. Everyone travels by bike or skateboards or trains, public transportation. We have swimming ponds as well for cooling off when it's very hot. We have flower beds, bee hotels, wildflowers. And everyone eats a sort of planet-friendly diet, hydrogen transport. And we have reduced work days during heat waves to make sure that everyone has some leisure time and have time to, and everyone can like work from the park or from their home. And then, oh yeah, and also we have an earth scrape that's sort of like a skyscraper. It's just underground. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and of course, next to our town, we have the rural area with the farming, we have the factory. So we had to start a total transition there. So we had in the farming land, we started with, was it forestry farming or like, so we introduced more trees to make sure that it's shaded in the farming areas. We also work with new species to take better care of the soil, so the plants are more sustainable. And again, we were working very much on the water, how to start upstreams with more ponds, more areas to take care of water, and also integrating the water supplies for the farmlands with these ponds to make sure that whatever water is available can be used here.
Yeah.
And this will, of course, also work as a flood measurement. In the river, we were working on the aquaculture, even farmed aquaculture in the river to make sure it is. And of course, this old factory is totally refurbished. Now it's a zero-emission factory. The old factory pipes is refurbished as windmills to make sure that and of course, the solar energy, every worker is coming there with mass transit systems. And we are working on the energy, because this will be a place integrated to our city to deliver energy. So it will be a diverse and local energy mix based on wave power from the sea. We have solar power, we have wind power, we have hydropower. Yeah, trying to make it as balanced as possible. And yeah, and also an integrated system where we are monitoring through AI systems, for instance, pesticides and watering systems that are integrated. I think that was the main parts of this.
And when it comes to soil, the soil is degrading in quality, especially in warm countries. And it is actually being desertified in a quite high pace. So that means that the organic content in the soil is decreased. And when it goes under a certain level, the soil is not longer classified as soil, but it's classified as desert. And it has been projected that if it continues in the same pace that it does now, we won't have any farmland left and soil left in 50 years or in 60 years. I don't know how much truth there is to that exact number, but it's still a very dire situation in that sense. And that's why it's important to really have sustainable farming, changed farming practices to make sure that we don't desertify our farmlands.
Thanks a lot. So Rasmus, I think it's your group now. Welcome. Who wants to talk? You? Good. Yes. Please start.
Okay, so we had the pleasure of dreaming of a new world. So we had international relations. So our measures sometimes might not be as concrete as some of the ideas on cities and others, but we have also quite a few similarities, and we heard already some ideas. So maybe our group was, so it's me, Raoul, and we have
Barbara?
Yildiz.
Jan-Erik. Rasmus.
Maybe we start with our biggest wish, what we really hope for in future, and that is increasing international collaboration. So this is basically the key for everything. Because climate change doesn't know borders, so in future we have to rethink what borders means, because we will have climate migration and they need to go somewhere, and this is only possible with international collaboration. So this is the big wish that might be challenging to achieve, but worth trying. Maybe for a few more ideas that could work is, on the one hand, we need to change our transportation system. So carbon neutral transportation will be one of the keys. And for that, we need maybe new concepts, like introducing the idea of airships that you see up here, big Zeppelin type of vehicles with solar panels on the top. But then also go back to the roots. So our ships will be sailing ships again. But these two concepts already indicate that we need to change our perception of transportation. So we need to reduce the speed of transportation and have the concept of slow travel again. So this will be a key thing, because slow travel also means we might need less energy to transport, so less intense energy cost for it. Then another big topic is, of course, changing our food system. So we need alternative solutions for food production. So this can be either new sources of food. So, I mean, we already started doing this. So looking into eating more insects than meat, or utilizing our oceans more, for example, growing more seaweed that we can eat. Then on the other side, that has already been mentioned in previous talks, is promote more urban farming. So this can be in various ways, either with underground farming, or producing the food in the supermarket directly, which all reduces transportation costs, but also making us maybe more resilient against extreme events. Reduce, of course, meat production, and then together with this localized and using more the urban area, but also removing the pressure on our agricultural systems for food production, meat production. This area that we have gained, we want to give back to nature, so to promote biodiversity again. But on the other hand, also, again, increase international collaboration, having more food banks and more food stock, that in case of a disaster, we can be more efficient of helping each other. Then, of course, a way of reaching carbon neutral transportation and also carbon neutral energy systems, we need an international agreement and on a ban on fossil fuels. This can either be, so Rasmus found one initiative that is already existing, and some communities already have signed up for it. What was the name again?
It's Fossil Fuel Non-Proliferation Treaty, which has been signed by the World Health Organization, and we're waiting eagerly for the World Meteorological Organization to sign it.
So talk to your local governments, they should sign it. But then, of course, also promote clean and renewable energies. So the classic renewable energies, but also looking into new technologies, as Rasmus was saying, maybe looking into fusion energy and maybe nuclear, but nuclear is a hot topic also in our group. So I'm from Germany. We look at nuclear very differently than other countries. And then maybe lastly, looking more into the economy. So our economy is very much on faster, further, and bigger. And we probably have to rethink this in a whole. So the idea of economic degrowth and promoting more recycling and so forth, more value to nature conservancy. And yeah, I think that is about it. This is our wish list for 2072.
Thanks. So now we try to switch to the people on Zoom. We have 2 online presentation groups. Let's see. So I guess we start with Dhirendra Kumar, who is going to present the work from online group 2. So maybe if he can start sharing his screen, if that works, or can you hear me actually? Abdelkader, can you give him the rights to share his screen, maybe, or her? Yes, something's coming up. Yes. I can't hear you, but there seems to be some audio there, but not streaming here.
I can hear him here, but...
You can hear him?
Yeah. And I can hear you.
Yeah, good. But not...
Am I audible?
Now. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to talk about a possible plan. So first I would like to introduce my team, which is myself, Bernardino from Mozambique, Diliang, Jivanti, Mark Noggett, Motoki, Jaren, Sophie, and also Thomas. And we are from different parts of the globe and carry different expertise and knowledge. So we started our discussion. Initially, we were not sure where to think about which city we should focus on. After a bit of discussion, we finalized on to the capital of Mozambique, which is Maputo, which is a coastal city, and it faces different challenges, and that relates to a large migration of people from city to city from rural areas, which leads to rapid population growth and has different other problems associated with it, like larger housing requirement, energy requirement, higher demand for water, solid waste management, public health, etc. Also, in terms of the climate and the climate change, recently there have been more intense rainfall in recent times with shortened rainy seasons, and apparently the infrastructure is not sufficient enough for handling the extreme rainfall, which leads to extreme flooding within the city area, and it puts the drainage systems at quite stressful situation. So what is happening is the amount within the season does not change, but the season itself is getting shorter, and that leads to more extreme rainfall events. Then there are droughts as well, because there are prolonged dry spells, which has impact on irrigation, water supply, and also the health-related issues. So in terms of the adaptation, we propose some recommendations, which is like reliable and timely information on the changes with quantification of the uncertainty, that, okay, this much uncertainty we have from the climate projections about the possible changes. Then we also propose the provision of seasonal to sub-seasonal forecasting systems, early warning systems, and then better water and energy management plans for the city itself in association with better urban infrastructure to tackle these situations. Furthermore, there have been other challenges related to climate change. Sorry for this one. Okay, and there have been like frequent heat waves, which has resulted into the number of extreme heat days which have been increasing, and that has led to heat stress and related health risks, mortality, etc. then that has also led to higher energy consumption. So, I mean, which has a risk of failure of the energy infrastructure. Again, in terms of the adaptation, what we propose is like early warning systems to better prepare for these situations. Another mode of preparedness to help people with shelters, like the community shelters where there may be cooling, so that during the extreme heat episodes, people may gather there and like be safe. Other mechanisms to cool down, development of green areas, which is apparently the nature-based solutions. Also, better information and better infrastructure for predicting the energy demand to reduce the stress on the energy infrastructure, which does not lead to failures. Exploration of potential for renewable energy, that is solar farms, and since the city of Maputo is a coastal area, there might also be potential for the renewable energy. There are some other problems like, so I mean, due to rapid urbanization, the city has been facing a lack of recharge areas, and the flooding areas has been increasing because the percolation doesn't happen due to concretization of the surfaces. And then due to exploitation of the groundwater, the water tables have been going down with the risk of saltwater intrusion. So what we propose is the avenues to look for rainwater harvesting, like there has to be some control mechanism to shift populations from rural to urban areas, or urban to rural areas, let's say, to better handle the stresses on the environmental factors. And then the better water supply infrastructure, development of recharge zones, afforestation within the cities, and development of green areas. So these are some of the discussions we could do within the limited time, and we think that these might be helpful, and we look forward to a better world with reliable information, with reliable coordinated efforts from the community. I would like to thank all my team members and also all the audience for listening to our discussion. Thank you very much.
Thanks. There's one more group online, so will you present? You'll present here? Okay, good. Whoa.
I'm an online person now.
How do we do that? Okay.
I think, yeah, Armel,
yes.
she will be...
So she will share, so someone else
Hello?
will, turn it on here.
Yeah.
Someone else will share the screen and you will talk?
Yep.
Okay, good. So who is gonna share his screen?
Armel.
Okay, Armel, can you start share your screen? Try it.
But Deandra should stop sharing.
Yeah, okay,
his screen
Deandra,
first.
yes. If you stop share, and then Armel will start share.
I have stopped sharing.
Okay.
Do you still see it there?
No, it's good. So
Okay, great.
So we just wait for the
But otherwise, if can you share your screen, Rasmus?
Or I
It's
can
in,
share my screen.
Yeah, it's in BOG1. So if you open BOG1, there will be, so it will be there.
And then table 6.
It's yes.
Task 6. Sorry, now I'm messing this up as well. So let's see if I can start share my screen. This one, share. Whoa.
Okay, great. Hi, everyone. My name is Abdul Qadir. So I've been leading one of the room session online. Can you increase the text? Can you increase the text, Andreas, a bit? And then scroll down. I think I will be starting presenting the group. Control plus.
No, that doesn't work on that.
Yeah. but I can start presenting the city we focused on. So it's Barcelona. And so I would like you to guess Barcelona in 2070. If you scroll down, Andreas. So I'll start with down.
Further down.
Yeah. Just a bit more. Yeah, a bit more. Yeah, so a bit more. Down. Yeah, so this is the team. Myself is Abdelkader. We have Bruce. We have Armel. We have Shabe. We have Marlene. And we have Elina and Shaun together, and Claire. So we discussed Barcelona in 2070, how it's going to look like and what are the challenges. The main focus topic we chose is extreme rising temperature, extreme temperatures, rising in temperature extreme, and then also scarcity of water. So these, it's a compound event. So the city we tried to plan it looks like this. So we don't have any text on it, but I will try to go through all the different elements. And the main major point we thought about is that it will be a massive migration from the tropic regions due to scarcity of water into Barcelona, for instance. And this will, of course, increase the population. We thought of maybe at first sight when people will start to migrate, having some climate refugee camps, where you see here, as a transition before settling down everyone. And also Barcelona will be affected by increased aridity. There will be more heat waves coming. There will be less rain in 2070. And there is also another challenge because it's a coastal area, so sea level will also rise. And this will generate kind of very complex city to deal with. So just to remind you, on the one hand side, you have extreme high temperatures, you have sea level rise, you have increased population, everything in one city. So planning was a bit difficult, and we mainly discussed the challenges, and we didn't came up with very concrete ideas. So the first thing when people move into a big city like Barcelona, and the city that should adapt, and having people from all over the world, maybe from tropic regions, as we mentioned here. So the first thing to do is to think about developed infrastructure. And this is because there will be much higher population density, and this migration phase will also generate some issues with poverty, with people coming from abroad that maybe they do not have enough money to survive the city, and so on. So there are also these challenges that people that will migrate will face also other different challenges. Increased population means and with water scarcity, there will be also a compound event, because you need to provide all people with water. And we thought the best solution to do is to use water desalination. They have already started with this in Barcelona, but it will be maybe what we propose to have a more developed, more sustainable desalination system. Increased population in a city like Barcelona by 2070 will also require providing people with food. And what we propose is to have massive vertical agriculture. Remember, with the sea level rise, the land will be something very important. There is no space for traditional agricultural ways, so the cities need to adapt. And one way for this is to encourage vertical agriculture. But this will also be competing with land. So remember, you have many people coming from abroad, so you need to build buildings, but at the same time, you need to provide them with food. So it's very challenging, actually. All this requires energy, of course. When the temperature increases and you have extremely huge buildings, so you need to have some air conditioning to allow people staying inside, maybe during heat waves, and this requires a lot of energy. What we propose is to have solar panels on top of all the roofs, solar panels everywhere, and also combine this with wind power plants offshore, mainly because the land, there will be no space to place wind power plants on land. Increased population also, there's also a challenge with public transportation. It's a coastal area, so there is no maybe room for having subways or like developing public transportation under the ground. So there might be some other smart solutions. We haven't really discussed about this intensively, but so we thought that there should be some smart solutions when it comes to public transportation. And I also mentioned solar energy on top of the roofs, but if we would like to go also for a green city and having green roofs, so this will be an additional challenge. It's very hard to have both. Which one is more important? So, so this is something that we need to talk about. If we use the roofs for solar energy, then we will not use the roof for instance, having a good biodiversity or having a good biological system and so on. So there are many challenges actually, but we didn't come up with concrete solutions. We also thought that we need to add more reservoirs wherever necessary, but placed for far distance from the city due to land scarcity. And also another important aspect is to increase governance to handle the population influx. And lastly, we need to create new ways, also to encourage biodiversity, as I mentioned, by having something green roofs, encourage beehives on roofs and something similar. And the last point I would like to mention here is that due to water scarcity, we need to impose some strict policies to discourage people to use water abundantly, and then this should be a kind of priority. So I think this is all from my group. So we've tried to put some people showing some refugees or migration, but someone in my group, they said all people seems happy, so it was difficult to find someone that looked a bit tired or having troubles coming to Spain in 2070 as a refugee. Yeah, I think that's it from my side, and thank you, everyone.
Thanks. Good. Then I think we go. Very nice. This worked very nice. We go back to the presentation here, and yeah, one more. This one. Yes. One. Yes. Yes. Good. Perfect.
Hi. So thank you all for being.
Sorry. I think it's off. 2 seconds. Press.
Yeah. Okay. I'm too fast. Okay. Thank you all for being involved in this exercise. I think you were all very engaged in this, and it was great to see that. So big applause to all of you, both here and online. And it was perhaps a bit more challenging to do this online, so we will see how we can develop this concept. And now we won't really go through this here, but we would like you to give feedback on this. So please mail to IPOC, IPOC@cordex.org. any feedback, because we need to wrap up. Otherwise, we would have liked to have it now. If you have something quick, we can take it now. But otherwise, the scheme in general, did it work well? Were there things that could be improved? How was the material? And did it work to do it together like this in a group? Are there things that could be improved there? What about the background? Was that enough to do what you wanted to do? Was it understandable? I mean, things like this. We would really like feedback. We also had some questions about use of the material. We need to come back a little bit to this, because we think it can be used if you make sure that you notify that it's developed by SMHI, but we will come back with information on this if you would like to use it. I need to have one more check with those who developed it, if there's something special you need to write in that case, and if they want to wait a little until the material is more developed, because right now it's still in test. But I think it's all right to use it, but we will come back to that. So thank you all. Very good job, and hope we can do something similar in the future. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, then I think it's over to Rasmus again, and some information about lunch and some summary first.
Yes, hello. Am I on? Do you need to switch it on here as well?
You want to use that?
I can use this for now. So now we have come to the conclusion of the workshop, at least at this stage, because it will follow on with some more work. Because now we have produced a lot of input, and then we had to work on that and make more value out of what we have already gathered. But I would like to, before I thank everybody, I would like to have a round if anybody has anything they want to say concerning how to take it forward, like what to do with this. And this is also applies to you on Zoom as well. So I hope you can you manage that, Andreas, to see if anybody has any comments?
Yeah, I'll try to, yeah.
And if they have this, then they give it, then
it's on, the chat is on Zoom there, so.
Yeah. So, but also if they want to appear on the screen to talk to us as well, like proper Zoom as well, not just chats. But does anybody have any like thoughts about how to take it onwards, like things we should pay attention to, what we should focus on?
Well, first, thank you very much for the organization. I think it's a very hard job doing that in a hybrid mode, and it worked very fine. So thank you very much for the organization team. So I think it was a great workshop. Maybe what I didn't get so far was the interaction between the groups. This was a little bit a shortcoming, but it's difficult to deal with that because we would have had additional slots for all this exchange, but then maybe other things would have come short. I think from the workshop and also what we have for from the last discussion point was this international collaboration, and I think we should go for that. I would really think that this is an important outcome from the workshop, that we have to have a more exchange internationally, because there's a lot of things going on everywhere, and there's a lot of double work done, which is a little which is a real pity, because if we share things, then it would be we could go much further. And so I would like to pick it up and would strengthen this international collaboration. Yeah, that's my point. Thanks.
Thank you. We have some time to some people to comment further. Maybe somebody from effort, like the health. If you have any sort of what's your sort of experience from this workshop, working with people like us, the like climate people?
But the strange people like us.
How would you see we should work together to advance this, like and make progress?
first of all, thank you for inviting us to co-organize this workshop. It's been really great. And I've been really stuck with other tasks these days. I've been in and out, but still, I've listened to several of the keynotes and been involved in the discussions. And Christine and I will bring back the YouTube film and provide it as colloquias for our colleagues, because we should have been more people here from the Public Health Institute, but still there is too much for them to learn yet, but we will try to dig into it as much as we can. We have a lot of people who are experienced and competent in data analysis, but coupling it to health, we are not quite there yet, but I think the material provided through this workshop will be fantastic for us to work with. So when we work with data, it's a lot of problem with all the GDPR and all the stuff with sensitive information. I think some of our colleagues will love to work with these kind of data with no GDPR restrictions. So I suppose they will be quite motivated. So thank you, Rasmus, for perfect organization. This is really an example to follow.
Thank you. Can I ask you, Abdulkader, to share some of your experience from, because you did a tremendous job hosting the Zoom meeting together with Oskar Lange, and also I think you did a little bit as well, Andreas. But would you want to say something about how it was, what it was like working on the Zoom, because we had this sort of two parallel universe. Do you want to do that?
Yeah, also I would like to join everyone thanking Rasmus for extremely hard and good job organizing the workshop from scratch. I jumped in maybe in the end with the Zoom online sessions and on-site sessions. So I've been sitting around outside the room, but I was physically here, but my mind was online. It's been I think it's been a great experience. We haven't done this before, and we haven't thought that this would work nicely and smoothly, and with people engaged online and people on sites. And I think this is something that we need to follow in the future, and I think it opens doors for other people to join from outside. They don't need to travel. They don't need to spend money on this. Just connect to Zoom and then follow everything what's happening. There has been challenging a bit with the chat and then things that are not working sometimes. But I think I've had a good assistance with Oskar and Andreas and other people. So I have a very positive feedback from this experience. And maybe next time I will not do the technical part because I've missed something in the scientific presentations. But yeah, I think overall it was a very good experience, and everything was successful, and with very tiny stressful periods, but we solved all the problems. Yeah.
I think we had a lot of learning these 3 days, last days. Do you think it would be worthwhile having a pure Zoom session maybe a few months from now, working on this, what we've been sort of digesting from this workshop, and try to do the synthesis and have a Zoom sort of follow-up? Would that be, do you think that would be a good idea?
Honestly, I have to think about it. Okay. What I've learned also from these 3 days is that people were more engaged the first day. We had many more people attending. Having a workshop on 3 days, I think it's very hard for many of us to deal with. We have other obligations. People, they have to jump in and out. So this was good for the online people. Maybe it was less for the on-site people. You cannot jump out. But I think having both of them, and then having for the audience this flexibility to come or not to come, to join online or on-site, this has been very very promising, I think, for all of us. During the pandemic, it was very difficult. You can plan to travel to some other places, but if you miss your plane, if there's cancellation, then you miss everything. But now with this new way of doing things, I think you have nothing to miss. Even if you miss your plane, you go back home, and then, or on the way back home, you follow the whole workshop. So I think we should keep trying to having both, in my opinion. Sometimes online session with technical issues do not work well, and then you can get disappointed somehow. But this being very successful, I think, workshop, and we should continue having this combination of on-site and online sessions whenever and wherever possible, I guess.
Yeah, there's a question, yeah?
Speaking of hybrid, there's one question on Zoom, or someone, Jannike. There are lots of thanks and congratulations coming in, so we probably save them for later. But Jannike has something to comment online.
Okay,
so
excellent. Thank you.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. So this was a test that you were still paying attention to people online, which is. I have just a small comment. Sorry, I have just a comment to the technical things for hybrid format. I had the pleasure of being both yesterday and on. I've given a little praise already that the hybrid format works very well for their side. There's one shortcoming with Zoom. I'm more of a team person. In Zoom, if you leave a meeting, you
Can you speak up and slowly, because the sound is
it's not very clear.
It's not clear here. So if you speak very slowly and also loud, then I can hear you.
I'll this better.
Much better.
Oh,
Much better
okay.
now.
Sorry. I just had a comment on the use of Zoom in the hybrid format. If there's time for it, or I can send it by email later. Or
Okay. Yes. You want to say it now, or do you want to send it to me?
I can say it now if there is time.
Yeah.
It was about the chat in Zoom. If you step out of the meeting, then you lose access to the chat. So if there's information posted, for example, now we're moving to YouTube or some other link or something like that, that is lost to the participant that joined later. So this is a shortcoming of Zoom, I would say, but that's how it is. What would be helpful is to have one entry site for the information on links and so on. And in my experience, the best way to provide this is through the meeting invitation that appears in people's calendars, because then you can, this can be continuously updated, and you will have all the information in one site. That also goes for the agenda, for example. So that's just an advice how to provide information to participants a bit independent of the Zoom chat and Zoom functionality. Otherwise, as I said earlier, I think you've done a fantastic job with organizing this hybrid event. It worked very well, both physically and online.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Can I ask you one question, Andreas? If you go to the streaming, this YouTube for the first days, how many views have we had for the streaming? I can hold that.
Try that. The YouTube is for the first day.
For the first day, one, yeah, because the others probably haven't caught up yet, so maybe not so many.
Guess I need to open the YouTube link. There are 395.
395 views for the first day streaming. So I'm quite happy with that.
Yes, you should be.
That's more than registered, actually. So
150 on the second day.
yeah. So maybe catch up. So then I think we're almost finishing. So I would really like to thank all of you for participating. I would like to thank the technical staff, Sean and I can't remember your name. Sorry. And also Kulturhuset, and I would like to thank everybody. I had a great support. I was not alone. I had all my team, like if people did the technical things, people did the presentation things, and also like August and her team, and also CORDEX, and I think we worked together very nicely, and it was actually a good experience also planning this workshop. And as I said, there will also be work after the workshop as well to get the most out of it. So, yes, Hannah?
I have one question. Does it work?
That's the question. No. Trying to
You have another microphone.
Now it works.
I have one question, and that is how the users, like from Norconsult and NIVA, and how is it for you to get in contact and touch with us to explain your problem and get advice on what data you should do? Is there anything that we can improve for you how to, to solve your problems and get in contact with us?
I think that would also be part of this working after the workshop to actually include these kind of questions or like this request or like this issue. Yeah. So this is something we need to work on. This is something that we have to keep on working as far as I can see in the future, I think. Yes. So I hope to get your input on that. So I think maybe we should have, at least I will send out an email so people can comment. Maybe we should also have a Zoom meeting to actually discuss that maybe later as well, and then keep working on this. So I think I will just thank you. And yeah, do you want to say something? You can speak.
Okay, I just wanted to say that we've mentioned that there will be some sort of workshop report after this. So we will work with this, Rasmus and I and some others together. But then when we do some sort of publishing of it or so, we also will try to get input from you so that you can give your view on the report. So be sure that all your work here will come out to some results that is, let's say, readable or showable.
But also, I think it would be nice that you also add your name, so it's a bit traceable as well, so we know who actually contributed. So this is a community effort or like sort of crowdsourcing of wisdom. So then I will say thank you very much. This has been a tremendous experience, so thank you.
Thank you.